direct from the beautiful Inland Blue Studios. Honey, this is the Nerdlife Crisis podcast with your hosts, that fine-ass Chris Thayer, that beautiful Steve Hale, and that big hunk of chunk of meat, Ron Milts. Woo! Mama's hot up in here. Let's get this party started.
All right, everybody, and welcome back to the Nerdlife Crisis podcast. Here with your host today,
Chris Thayer,
Steve Hale,
Todd Pemble,
and I'm Ron Milts, and we are all in the right seats again, and we're all here, and it's a new podcast 2 weeks in a row. It's like a minor miracle around here, guys.
Man. Must be slow around our houses or something. We ain't got shit to do right now.
A little bit, right?
We got some time.
Or you're super busy and you just got to get away from it.
That too. Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to bail out, and it's like a podcast is the best way to do it. So
you're on homework. I'm out.
My place is always just me, so I'm not running from anything.
Todd's like, he's like, you know, my real doll has been really pressing me lately. I don't know that I can.
Well, when I
full-size anime pillow.
I left the house at 6:45, and I told the boys that their mom would be home at 7:30. So just hang tight, and mommy loves you.
You know, so with that in mind, so my son has reached the point where he's becoming like a regular person now. And this motherfucker opened the door for somebody the other day when I was in the kitchen.
Whoa!
There was like ding, like knock, knock, ding dong. He ran up and opened the door. I'm all, no.
Right.
This is how movies starring Hugh Jackman start. Run away.
A special episode of Different Strokes happens.
Right. He's like, hi, who are you? And there's like, is your mom or dad around? He goes, my dad's in the other room. And I'm like, who are you talking to?
My dad's in the other room.
Yeah.
Yep, it's time to start setting that deadbolt.
He opens the fucking deadbolt is the problem.
Boy,
I'm going to put one of those real high ones.
You might want to put that shit up higher.
Yeah. I'm like, he's just getting too tall, man. But yeah, for sure. That idea of the days of being able to ignore my child and do stuff around the house are over.
Oh, yeah.
Because now he's like the breakout king. So
that's how I made it in the house today. I brought free candy.
Is that? I was wondering whose white panel van was parked out front there. Should have known that was yours, Todd Pemble. All right, guys. Well, we got a lot to talk about here. We held off for a full week on Stranger Things, so Steve could fucking catch up and watch it.
And boy, did I catch up!
It is. Steve, I think Steve and I had the same reaction to it, which is you pretty much watch one episode and you're in for 3 or 4.
Right. Yeah, I started, and next thing you know, it was 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
and we were down 4 episodes, and I was like, okay,
I have to go to bed. Does not stay up.
No, not even on the weekends. I do not stay up like this late anymore. And the wife and I were so hooked on this, we couldn't get enough. And then we watched Fear the Walking Dead Sunday night at 6:00, and at 7:00 I put it right back on Stranger Things.
Right.
And we finished out the series that night. And when we went to bed, we were still talking about the show.
Right.
So what you're saying is Stranger Things did a good cleansing of the palate from Fear the Walking Dead.
Yes. I felt dirty and disgusted with myself after watching Fear the Walking Dead, and I immediately put on Stranger Things, and I felt refreshed and clean. And it was like a full body douche, and I was just washed out, dude. And it was so good.
Wait! Isn't that just a shower? Like, does it have to come out of the turkey baster, or is that?
Oh, it's a little bit more fun with the turkey baster, you know. We put the blue tarp down, you know. Yeah.
Nice.
It was so good. I mean,
so I think I was the first one of us to watch it because I was immediately texting you guys, like, you guys have to watch this.
I held off for about a week. I'm like, yeah, I can't. How great can it be?
I was chomping at the bit, and as soon as I got my Netflix hooked back up, because we've moved into an apartment, we've got all of our TV and all of our entertainment center hooked back up, and I can actually watch Netflix again. I have a lot of catching up to do. I was like, yeah, you do. We're putting this on first. This
Daredevil
is
season
first.
2 next, right?
Yes, that's next. That's
Did you watch Jessica Jones?
No, not yet.
Dude, that was bad.
Oh man,
yeah, I've a lot of making up.
First
to do,
off, Jessica Jones was not better than Daredevil, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. I mean, holy shit, dude!
Right?
Whew.
And let's talk. Chris, what was your initial reaction to it?
I felt like I was watching Goonies. I mean, that was it. I felt like I was transported.
That was
20
exactly
years
where
back.
I was. The first night it showed up, I hadn't heard anything
I
of
didn't
it,
know anything
and
about
I
it.
just happened to turn my Netflix on and was like, "Well, this looks interesting," and so I just watched the first episode. Then I ended up watching a second episode.
Now wait, did you watch it before I did?
I might have. I just didn't
And you
tell
didn't tell us about it?
I don't think I
How
didn't.
dare you, man?
I didn't watch the whole season. Like, it took me a week to watch the whole.
Oh,
thing.
man.
Less than 24 hours.
He likes the nap. He's a napper. And sometimes it could be the most stimulating show you're watching, and you'll look over, and Todd is fucking out, dude.
I kind of call it like Pavlov's dogs, man, because like when I used to work at the movie theater, I'd have to build the movies and I'd have to watch them before I showed them to anybody, right?
Yeah.
This is at 6 o'clock in the morning after I left work the night before at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I get in there, nice air conditioned theater, dark.
So what you're saying is you'd put the movie on, you would not watch the movie, you would sleep.
But the boss sure as hell thought I watched it.
So when the porn clip came on in the middle of it,
No, there was no porn clip because I didn't put it in there.
oh right. So, but I'm with you guys. Like, it literally felt like I had been transported not just 20 years back, but 30 years
Right.
back.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Right.
to I'm sitting there watching Goonies for the first time. I'm watching Poltergeist for the first time.
Right.
I'm watching
E.T..
It was
E.T.,
all those
you
movies
know.
I loved as a kid.
Stand By Me, like all these movies
Yeah.
of and the thing that killed me about it is how real everybody felt in that world, which is one of the things that fucking bugs me about Hollywood. And
Yeah.
being a performer, it bugs me whenever I turn on a TV show or something and everybody in the fucking show is gorgeous. Everybody. Like, think about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If
Yeah.
that cast in real life is one of the fucking best looking group of people you have ever seen.
I got
Coulson's
I got a
best in
serious
dude.
boner for
there's a-
Coulson.
There's a FBI show out there. It might have only lasted like one season. It was all like
Quantico.
That
That bitch with her
Right.
lips.
Everybody was absolutely gorgeous.
You're all-
I was like, this is the
Right.
best looking FBI crew. I mean,
Right?
I mean, it's amazing.
And this show, like, immediately you're like, oh man, this is me. I'm watching me and my friend. I didn't have a friend that had goofy teeth, but I certainly
I had one later. He was more high school, and he
Yeah,
still
yeah.
had the problem with his canine teeth.
Yeah,
had the same problem.
As that
It was
kid. Yeah.
a huge amount of dental work and a lot of money for his folks to get that straightened out.
But what a great casting choice too, like
Yes.
casting this kid because he felt real. Like the girl that played Barb with her fucking mom pants and her
Yes.
big glasses and her giant
Oh, yeah.
hips, you know, like she felt like somebody. I'm like, you feel like somebody I
she
could
was
have met in real
She
life.
was absolutely 1980s that I remember.
Yes.
I remember seeing that girl in school
Yep.
a dozen times over. You know, they nailed that character out of the park.
Even the lead guy, the older brother,
Yeah, right.
was not a good looking dude.
Well, and
No.
here's the thing: these kids have acne. You're like watching the
Right.
show. I'm like, fuck, man, they let them keep their acne. Like, I was shocked by that. There's the certain little aesthetic choices that I was like, this feels like a real world to me. I'm buying into this because
Yeah.
it's so well done in a way that it's like everything's too polished now.
Everything too was very small town. It was supposed to be a small town, and they nailed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely nailed that. And the other thing that they nailed, which I thought was so rad, if you've watched any movie from the 1980s, they nailed
The soundtrack?
The soundtrack, yes, but the endless amount of henchmen without conscience. These guys, I'm sorry, conscience.
They were not conscious.
They were not conscious.
A lot of passed out henchmen all over the place.
But they were
Not quite zombies, just like
they all have that
sleepwalkers.
mustache and that crappy blue suit,
Yep.
and they'll just it doesn't matter if you kill 20 of them. They're just
Agent
gonna
Smith,
They were
dude.
so good.
and there were
dude.
so many of them,
yeah.
right?
It was like they had an army of them, and it was like if you watch any 1980s movie, it was totally like that.
I'm with
man.
Chris though. Modine's hair was killing me.
Oh, his hair was so ridiculous.
His hair was awesome.
Really, I didn't really notice.
Oh, dude,
him
he had
as
the.
much.
Oh,
it
my
was
God.
so fluffy.
He was so.
Fluffy and albino.
Yeah, it was just weird to me. I mean, whatever. They're trying to go for that like fair play 70s Goldie Hawn movie with the albino dude.
all the little details from everything from their bicycles to their radios that they were using.
Now their guns were wrong, weren't they?
the guns.
Where the henchmen came in with guns. They had guns.
They had modern weapons.
Yeah.
They had
I think they
modern
got the
Glocks.
guns wrong.
They had a couple things like
you
that
know
that
what?
showed up.
Honestly, I wasn't even paying attention to their handguns.
We had one moment too that and because I'm a giant nerd and you guys know I'm a giant nerd, when he was playing with the Millennium Falcon.
The Millennium Falcon was wrong.
I go, that is I'm sorry, that is the special edition Millennium Falcon from the late 90s.
You know what?
Because the back was a sticker on mine. That
I had several friends who are in the Star Wars club with me post about that. Good pointing that out, guys. Good wrecking the illusion. Yeah.
Because they couldn't, the cost that it cost them to get that Millennium Falcon versus buying a classic one. You could buy a used classic one that's been played with for like $175. Like,
rent it for $20 for the weekend, man.
Like, come on, you've done so well with so many other things.
Right.
Some PA just they were like, we need a Millennium Falcon. And he's like,
make it happen.
On it.
Yeah.
There were a few little things, but that's going to happen when you do something that's a period
This
thing.
isn't
Especially 30 years
Transformers.
ago.
This is a goddamn GoBot.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear about this until really after I started talking to other people about this. A friend of mine, Ed Angelo, who's out there listening, he had made this comment
We
too.
just have a shout out.
That people were complaining about Winona Ryder. They felt that she was overacting, and I was like, you know what?
No,
You
she
are
was
an
my
idiot.
favorite part of the
I said,
show,
you know what?
man.
I hate her.
And I said, oh, she's my crush since Beetlejuice.
No, I'm not talking about how she looks. I'm talking about her acting. For me, has always been terrible.
For me, it's always been kind of hit and miss.
She's not perfect, but as a parent,
she was
Close your eyes
Yeah.
for a moment and dig down deep and imagine your child
Has
absolutely
disappeared.
missing.
Yeah.
I mean, and there is a pretty strong chance they're not coming back.
Right.
Okay.
My only complaint, and this was my only complaint, I told the missus when we were watching them all, after the second episode, man, I kind of feel like they need to give her more to do is the problem, because she was kind of one note for a while, but then at a certain point, like when the lights lit up for the first time, it was like it changed, and then that performance became so much more, you know, and desperation and like tragic, it was great.
Frantic mother, and how she just kept getting worse for wear as the day went on.
And I love every moment at the fucking the buy-in more, like when she
work.
She was like, I need the phone, and when she goes back for the second one, she just fucking ring it up.
So good, man. And what's his name who played the cop? I'm sorry, I'm off with the names tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what his name is.
You know what,
but I enjoyed
man?
him a lot.
He's in a lot of things. I don't know his name.
All I could think of him was in was it End of Watch?
Yes.
And he had the knife sticking out of his eyeball.
Yes.
That's every time I saw him. He's in. It's with Jake Gyllenhaal and some other guy. It's a really good cop movie, actually. And he was like their sergeant, and they pull up, and him and his partner had gotten ambushed by some gangbangers, and he had like a knife sticking out of his head, and he's completely calm.
I didn't even realize that was that guy.
Yeah. It took me. I was like, where do I know this guy at?
Well,
man?
I've seen him in a number of things, and I can't.
It's always been little
really
bit
good about their
parts,
names,
man, and
but,
he was so good in this too, man.
It's his name's David Harbour.
Oh, okay.
He was also in Suicide Squad. He was one of the two FBI guys that Amanda Waller was like describing the team to at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So he's
nice
one of
and
those
cleaned up
character
there.
actors that he's like in a ton of shit. you
Yeah.
know? So, but let's talk about. We got to talk about like the breakout of the show, which is Millie Bobby Brown, who played 11. Like, first off, the fact that her name is Millie Bobby Brown. Like, somebody loved Millie Vanilli and Bobby Brown growing up and named that poor child Millie Bobby Brown.
I'm just sitting here. I'm imagining some like toothless hick going, I really like that Bobby Brown, but we got to name her after your mama, so it's Millie Bobby Brown.
Apparently, she went full Furiosa, man, and shaved her head.
That's how they got her to do it. Was
Yeah.
they showed her pictures of Charlize Theron and were like, "Hey guys, like look at how cool she looks," and she's
Right.
like, "I can do that."
Yeah.
you know. But she was like, how intense was her performance, man? Like insane. Like
Yeah.
She was great.
For that age, she was incredible. man.
almost all single word answers for the first 4 episodes.
And there was so much she was saying in her face and in her expressions, in just her body language. You know, she was so good. Man.
I now remember my one issue with it. When she goes and she takes the Eggo waffles and immediately starts eating them. Those damn things are not thought out. She's eating frozen waffles.
Hey,
She's got magical strong teeth, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
I cling on to the stupid thing.
Well, maybe they were in the cooler and not the freezer. I don't know.
I don't know either. But there was so much to like about the show, and it literally, like everybody from the get. I remember I told the missus, I was like, this is like watching a Stephen King book, not like a movie, a Stephen King book, because it's slow, it's moving at a deliberate pace. And there's so much information about every character in it, and nothing's wasted. There are no wasted moments in it. And all I could say was, I hope, unlike Stephen King, that this show sticks the landing, because Stephen King books tend to end very poorly. Yeah. But this show did not. Like, it left a lot of nice loose strings for a second storytelling or second season. But yeah, I'm kind of disappointed actually that we're following this story further along. I kind of wish we were getting it like more of an anthology series, because I'd like to see what other types of stories they could tell in this medium, being this like 80s throwback medium.
Well, I do believe every episode was written by a different writer.
Yeah, but the brothers...
The brothers were the main...
They did the story, which is the important part.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Did you hear how they pitched this? First off, they got turned down by 15 different networks.
Right?
Well, they ended up on Netflix, so...
Well, not a bad place
one
to
place
let me tell you,
shit
dude,
right.
that was the one thing that I've been talking about now too. I mean, we've seen so many series come through Netflix, and it's like they are doing it right. They get it. And they are producing shows that we want to see, and we can't get enough of them.
It's weird because, like, with these, like, you think of like the original broadcast networks, right? Like, when was the last time NBC or ABC or CBS put out something that was this good? Like, they just haven't, you know?
I can't think of anything.
Right.
Nothing.
But what's weird though is you think about HBO, like all of HBO's best stuff was like 5 or 6 years ago. Like that's when Game of Thrones started, you know, it was like that long ago.
Yeah.
And then they go through a dry spell and then something big hits again. Like you had True Detective for a season. AMC sort of did the same thing. Like Walking Dead's long in the tooth, man. We're getting into season 6 of Walking
You got
Dead.
Preacher.
Well, but that didn't hit big. I mean, it was good, but it didn't hit big.
I felt like it was pretty great.
But some of the other stuff AMC's put out recently, not so good. But Netflix for now, the last year, like
Kung Fu Plantation was freaking terrible. That shit was bad.
Kung Fu Plantation.
I
still enjoyed Kung Fu Plantation.
I just think that show hit at the wrong time.
Like
I think it has a lot to do.
Late?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you know, the martial arts thing is not really big right now.
No.
Like now, had it come out when
Crouching Tiger.
it would have been big. It would have been
early 2000s.
Or let me ask you this: what if Tarantino did it?
You know what, man? Tarantino cannot do a show on AMC or
Right.
It has to be HBO or it would have to be
Right.
Netflix.
No, I'm
man.
not saying it would necessarily have to be on AMC.
Well, the real
But
question is
that-
how much of it would he have to narrate?
That
like,
that thing,
Jesus.
right?
And how many of those
That
little
thing to
title
me-
cards would you put up in one episode?
that thing to me screamed just Tarantino. Like this could be great if Tarantino had his hands on it. You know?
well,
You know, it'd be great.
Right?
You know what's cool?
Tarantino.
We should do stuff that he likes.
Hey, speaking of which, I finally saw Wolf of Wall Street.
Did you?
That has a lot of
Finally.
Coke usage.
A lot of it.
Now, do you understand what I'm talking about when
no,
they're on
I
a plane?
I was kind of surprised at he wasn't snorting coke off of the ass crack. He had it in her asshole.
Yeah. I've
That's
actually
the
known.
part I was like,
I've
wait,
actually
what?
known people to do that. Actually.
That's a bit excessive to me.
So
I'm
I
just
saw
going to
it.
say at a party, like any party you're at, unless there's air conditioning running at 60, unless you're at a Matt Poland party and it's 68 degrees or 62 degrees inside, I would not want to snort Coke out of an ass crack because it's going to be sweaty and gross.
So I saw an interview with Jonah Hill about Wolf of Wall Street. He said he actually snorted so much fake cocaine that he got bronchitis.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
First off, how cheap is this production that they can't get these actors real cocaine?
Real cocaine,
Right.
right.
What the fuck, man? It's like, here, take this talcum powder and snort it.
It's like, do you know who I am? Can I get some real Coke over here? Hello? Yeah.
But
What the hell were they snorting then?
it's probably just baking soda or some shit
I
like
don't
that.
I don't know. He
Flour.
said it was on Any Given Wednesday with Bill Simmons on HBO. Mm-hmm. He did an interview with Jonah Hill, and he explains what the fake cocaine is.
I just want
remember.
Matthew McConaughey to come in here and go like, song.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. You feel that? You
Right?
feel it?
I forgot about that.
It's so cracked out. But
Yeah.
the problem, I feel bad because McConaughey's so thin at the beginning of that movie because he's like left
From
over
Dallas
from Dallas
Buyers
Buyers.
Club.
You come in, you're like, that kind of looks like Matthew McConaughey's skeleton. Like,
And that was real. That was like off the cuff. Like that's what he does.
Oh, he was really doing this?
that
Like just him?
yeah, that was like what he does before he gets on set. This is part of his meditation thing, and apparently he just started fucking doing it, and they just rolled with it. That's all real, man.
some directors all shh.
Let him go.
Let him go.
Fucking
This
brilliant.
is fucking brilliant.
Fucking kick that grip in the balls, you know? But anyways, back to
I
Stranger
believe it because
Things.
Yeah,
Leonardo
Stranger
DiCaprio's
Things.
face when he's doing it too was pretty damn real.
Yeah,
Like,
right? Like, what the fuck is
Yeah,
going on right now, dude?
crazy?
Like, are we in the middle of a fucking... Are we in the middle of a scene?
Am I being punked? Where's Ashton? Where's Ashton?
All right, you have an Academy Award. I don't.
You know what? Maybe if I grunted more and was raped by a bear, we would not have that problem. By the way, Todd's an evil human being. So Todd, apparently, since
I wasn't joking about bringing the free candy.
apparently there's a fucking pile of free candy
Oh, it's
in the middle of the
100
table.
pieces.
Well,
Yes.
because you know,
No, it's not
because
100
you know, it's
anymore.
fucking,
Well, it was.
it's mid-August, so it's time for Halloween candy, everybody.
And I'm fat, so I like candy.
So
But
we're all gnawing on some fucking
Yeah,
crunch
so if you hear
bars
some
here.
crunching going on in this
Yeah.
one.
So I do have one problem with Stranger Things, and this is, I always got to find something. I'm digging deep to find something that
Eggo
bothers
waffles.
me. About,
That
no,
was a
I
hard-
don't even. I was cool with that.
It was a hard show to find something that bugged you about it.
right.
I have
It
my
has
one thing,
nothing
too.
to do with the actual show. My gripe is when I'm watching, I'm thinking, God damn, the songs they're using in this are phenomenal, like perfect choices for songs.
Yeah.
Not the soundtrack, but the songs in the show. And then I get excited because I say, hey, they're gonna release the soundtrack, and I'm thinking Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix #1. No, it's this fucking bullshit 80s synth crap.
Oh my God, that's
which
the
was
best part.
great.
But that was awesome stuff.
It was awesome in the show.
Right.
It's like listening to techno on my iPod.
I
You
do.
know?
Yeah,
I don't want to hear that shit.
How does that go,
on my
Ron?
iPod? I want it in the club. Fine. And I even tried to listen to the previews, and I'm like, fuck all this. There's no way I'll ever listen to this.
My question is, did you buy it? Because
no.
if it's like listening to techno, you could just give it to Ron and he'll be happy.
Right. Well, and here's the thing. Then I got excited again today because they put out Volume 2. More of that 80s tech, digital bullshit, and that's great in the show.
It all sounds like it's like straight out of a fucking David Cronenberg film, which is what
or
I
a John Carpenter.
like it. That's what I love about it. I would listen
And
to that.
I'm not saying I didn't like it in the show,
Right.
but I don't want to put that on
You're not
my
rocking.
stereo.
You're not
Right.
rocking down the fucking street
No.
with it on.
And that's
Bullshit.
the
You
problem.
speed walk to that. It's all
But that Guardians of the Galaxy, Awesome Mix #1 or whatever it was.
I don't mean to.
I
Be,
listen to that shit all the time.
I
and
don't.
most
I
of
don't
those
mean to be an
songs.
asshole, but go watch Stranger Things again. Sit down with your fucking pen, write down what they play, and then go to your
I
computer.
already have the
you
list.
have all the music.
In fact, I don't have the music
Well-
because there's a lot of stuff, and this is the same thing with Guardians. There are things that I would not buy, but I would listen to if it were
99
in this
cents
thing.
at fucking iTunes.
Well, no,
Fuck
you
all that.
remember
And you
we
know-
had this conversation after Deadpool. Remember, I said something
Right,
about I went to
right.
go find the Deadpool soundtrack because I was like, man, there were some really good songs
you were all
in that.
bunch
those,
of bullshit
those
on
four
that.
songs were fantastic.
But
I need
there
to
was-
have
But there
one.
was there was something about the movie. I thought there was more than like 4. You get to the soundtrack. No,
No, there were
it's
more
like
than 4.
it's
They
like
didn't put 'em on
3,
there.
and then somebody's goddamn
Because
electronic.
they got to
shit.
pay for the rights for those.
Right.
So
Right.
and you know with the Guardians thing, like nobody's giving a shit about those songs since the 1970s. So they were
Well, wait,
they were
wait.
buying them at fucking
Jefferson
basement.
Airplane has 2 songs on here.
they
Toto, The Seeds,
I didn't know Jefferson
The
Airplane
Clash,
had 2
obviously.
songs.
Oh my God, they were making out to Africa, which I was like, I'm all
Right.
almost yes.
Modern English, come on.
I
that's
was
not a big
humming
draw
along
right
to
now.
Africa, and the wife looks at me. She goes, "What is this song?" And I'm all, "You don't know?" I'm all, "I bless the rains down in
I mean, check out
Africa."
this
old
list.
is the wife?
Nobody's paying big money for those songs.
What?
Nobody's paying big money for those
Hey,
songs.
dude, I've got most
Echo
of
and
that
the
on
Bunny
vinyl.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like
Ain't
this,
nobody paying big like royalty money on
Bangles?
Echo and the Bunnymen.
well, some of that's. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of
Lost
that
Boys,
stuff,
See
you know.
Joy Division.
Lost Boys. What?
Clash.
Yeah.
Don't even get me going on that one, dude. I mean, that's like one of the best bands that come out of the
Right?
80s, 70s and 80s.
But put those all together, like you did with Awesome Mix Volume 1, and I'd listen to it.
Yeah, I would rather listen to this for sure.
Right?
Than That's
my only problem.
Though I like the John Carpenter soundtrack, I agree with Chris. I wouldn't be rocking it down the street.
No.
But I would rock. I would rock.
Do me a
that.
favor. Do me a favor. Email me this list.
You're gonna put it on.
I will
CD for
fucking
me?
make you a mixtape. All right.
All right. It's not the same.
Here's the great thing about
Goldmine.
iTunes.
I literally have
each one
the-
of those costs 99 cents.
That's still more than the $9.99 that they would charge.
Just so you know, I have all this, so I can
you
give
have
you.
every one of those.
I literally have every one of these.
All right.
Even Echo and the Bunnymen?
Yeah, of course.
I probably have that one for sure.
I have most of that on vinyl, dude.
See,
New
well,
one.
even-
That's nice.
Exactly. Here's the thing I'm thinking of, though, when he's talking about Echo and the Bunnymen. I'm just remembering that scene from High Fidelity.
yeah, right. Love that.
So I did read, that they're going to make a second season, and it's going to be with the same cast.
So we've done a pretty. We haven't really spoiled much about this show.
No,
and I don't
not at
think we
all.
should. I think we're talking in generalizations, and before we get into the season
I
2
think we can
conversation,
talk about it without having to spoil anything.
Right. But I
so.
think if we start talking about expectations for season 2, I think we should put a spoiler alert right here. So this is, I think, where our spoils will begin right here. So go ahead.
I don't really have any spoils other than, from what I understand, and they're a little tight-lipped on it, is that
I don't think they have it planned out yet.
no, it sounds like their general outline of it is like it's going to be a follow-up to the first season of like kind of the aftermath of what happened.
Right.
And there's still strange things going on, but it's also going to be, like I said,
Would you
dealing
say
with
it's
the
going to be
aftermath.
Stranger Things?
Stranger things?
I mean, we know 11's still
Really
around.
stranger
Do we?
things.
Do
Dude, they're
we
feeding her in the.
do we know that she's still around?
Come on, the waffles were the giveaway.
Well, that's just a box in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
It's pretty obvious.
She's just not very good about her trash. Just drops it
I think
wherever
it's a
she
safe
goes.
bet.
A certain
that she's still there.
character that you might assume is dead, possibly is not.
I'm pretty sure Barb is dead.
Now, I'm not talking about her.
Okay.
I'm talking about.
Did you see the art though of the original death of Barb with they had the artist rendition and her
No.
her ribs were all
Oh, she
exploded
tore it
out.
Oh,
and-
I didn't see
yeah,
that.
but they were like it was too
It was pretty disturbing as it was.
yeah, but they were like this was too much, so they toned it down a little bit and they had the thing coming out of her
Still
mouth.
pretty brutal looking.
it was pretty brutal.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good.
But
and
look,
the creature is
Creature was
phenomenal.
fucking awesome.
It's done by
dude.
Stan Winston Studios. if
Well,
anybody
and
cares.
let's compare that creature, which had a lot of similarities to the bullshit we got in Suicide Squad, and how much more effective like that blob of mess was than the blob of mess was in fucking Suicide Squad.
There's a lot more Hitchcock vibe with Stranger Things.
really smart in the way they introduced things, and they did it like gave me the Jaws thing where we didn't see a lot of the creature early on, but like
Yeah.
once they
Right.
introduce it, all the shots were quick, left a lot to my imagination.
Oh, they went a
And there
long
was-
ways without really showing the monster.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I thought it was a really well developed creature, though. I thought that was really cool.
I agree with that though too. And I'm more curious about. There was a lot of little tidbits, especially in the last episode. The egg that they walked by when they're
Yeah.
in the Upside Down. You know, is this the only creature in the Upside Down? Like, what else is going on there? Very specifically said you have to wear the suits because the Upside Down is toxic. And we had 3 of our characters go in there without helmets on, which was the young boy and the
Now, he
the 2
obviously has
teenagers.
something inside of him.
Right. Well, he had the tube that was putting the slugs or whatever inside of him.
Somebody, I think it was my wife. No, it wasn't my wife. Somebody had said, "Well, who was that other skull in there?" So you got to remember,
He's
in the
been-
beginning,
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
the
there was
hunters.
the scientist who
Right.
was running down the hallway. He got snatched up. You know, you had the one guy who went in who was tethered. You know,
Right.
they
Right.
bolted that thing.
But they
down.
said they had been
I
sending
knew,
guys in there regularly.
I knew right then. I was like, "You're not coming out." I was like, "We're gonna watch that thing go." Zzz. You know, I knew right away. I was like, "Yo, you're food."
But there's a lot. There's so many questions about that alternate universe that I think are going to be interesting. And
Why does it
especially-
look like Silent Hill World?
Why is everything on fire all the time, right? And more importantly, like, what are these creatures? What's I think the first season is like monster movie.
Yeah.
And then I'll be interested to see what they do season 2. Like they could really go like more Close Encounters
Because
season 2. You know,
there's still a rift.
right?
Right.
It's still open.
You know, we don't just go ahead and cement that up. I mean, not that I know how that works, but you know, once this
Now
tree matter
You're saying you
shit
don't
is
have
coming
any
out
dark
of
portals
walls.
of your own.
is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
hole in the forest still open? Or did that close?
That seems to. It's almost like he can rip them open at will.
Right.
The creature, because he came through the house, came through the tree. He came out of the pool. Or remember where the wall? She could see him.
Yeah.
And it's and the wall is kind of.
Because it was
going
left
back
over,
together,
left
yeah.
over from when the creature had come through.
Right.
But the one in the forest, I'm trying to remember if the one in the forest closed up or not. So
the one when they went through the tree stump?
Yeah,
that did close
okay.
up. He barely got her out just in time.
So then the only one that's still open is the one underneath the Department of Water and Power or whatever they are.
Right.
The Henchman headquarters.
Yes.
Right.
The fucking the Cobra
The
headquarters
big
over there.
concrete building.
The albino pompadour center.
For Power Steady. Is that what it is? Okay. Here's my
That's
biggest.
my gripe.
No, my big.
There.
Well, that's not a terrible gripe, but my biggest gripe is the high number of murders that happen in this small town over the course of like a week, and the cop is so transfixed on the first murder. Or the disappearance of the boy, it's like the dude that got shot at the store. They're like, nah, it's no big deal. That's just Johnny the cook.
But no, he brought that up. He said, the last time he's like, I'm cursed.
Yeah.
He's like, the last time there was a suicide here was like 1961.
They talked about it.
They touch on it. But see, that's what they're going to talk about. I think they're going to catch in the aftermath of like, what just happened in the middle school, man?
Right?
Right?
Right.
Like all of a sudden there are 25 henchmen slaughtered all over the place, bullet holes everywhere,
Right.
shell casings, nothing.
There.
Spackle crew come through.
Right.
It's gonna be a treat for the custodian when he gets there in the morning.
We're just,
You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna hire the zombies from Fear the Walking Dead. They're like
Probably.
trabajo, and they're gonna bring them in, patch the wall up real quick.
they left their deprivation tank in the middle of the gym.
Right.
1,500 pounds of salt.
Yeah.
What about winter? When winter's coming, right?
And
Winter's
now they have
coming,
no more
and they got no
salt.
salt.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Hey,
fuck?
you can wait 5 more seasons till winter comes, right, Steve?
Yeah, we got a lot of fucking seasons till that happens.
Look, like the thing about that for me is it just seemed like there's 3 cops in this town. And shit goes down, and it's just like they're like, look, we can only handle so much. Like the fat kid that disappeared, we don't care about her.
Right.
They're like, oh, Barb ran away. She ran away, and like nobody seemed to care.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
If she was an 11-year-old boy, like you're excited about that, or like the fry cook you like talked about for 10 minutes, and then it was like, meh.
I did like how you had 3 different groups. You had the kids, the teenagers, and the adults, and they were all
On separate adventures.
but it was all coming together.
Yeah.
And that was cool. You know,
And that story,
I like that.
One of the things Chris and I were talking about is that story only works in the 80s because the kids are given free reign to fucking run around this town.
I mean, you want to
True.
talk about the most fucking oblivious parents of the 1980s. You've got your son harboring, fire starter downstairs. All right. And then you've got your daughter just, studying upstairs.
Studying.
With
somebody's
2 different
wiener.
boys
Like
on
how
2
many
different
dudes can
occasions.
sneak into this girl's house,
Like,
right?
listen, man. We were children of the 80s. We were more on lines of the kids in the show. So we weren't teenagers, but we were in the 90s. And let me tell you, dude, my parents wouldn't have fucking, like, you lock that fucking door,
Right.
and I will take it off by the hinges. Okay?
I heard that. I literally heard those words.
I own this house. I don't have to knock on this door. You're tripping. So
By
I
the
was
way,
like,
what kind of adult are you that you're like, I just don't go into the basement.
but right.
My house is so giant that this fully furnished basement, we don't visit down there.
But the dad was just like, I
He
mean,
was
like,
so clueless.
totally clueless. Like,
Enjoy
what did
your
I,
dinner.
What did I
He's
do?
swimming in the bottom of a bottle of whiskey, something.
It's like I hate my life. I got stuck with this.
But it's like the bullies, the boys, they're all running around the fucking rock quarry. By the way, the rock quarry from The Walking Dead, season 1.
Right.
If you guys didn't catch that,
was it?
It was totally the same
Okay,
one,
sure.
and they used it in the fucking Hunger Games too. So they're shooting down in Georgia. So it's like,
right.
it's all popular to shoot down there now 'cause
Yeah.
it's cheap. But it was just funny because it was like, remember when you were a kid and your parents let you play near the giant rock quarry? Good times.
Yeah.
Or the
the
the car junkyard. With all the rusty cars that pokey things sticking out of.
And that idea of like, oh, Johnny, you're 10. Just go ahead and ride home now at 9 o'clock at night after playing D&D for 10 hours.
It's actually 100% believable. It was just a
totally
different
is.
time.
That's how
It totally is.
Yeah. You know,
It was just so.
Be home before the lights before the lights come on.
Well, and it's one of those stories that doesn't work, would not work in a modern sense because cell phones fuck that story up because there's too much communication.
Yeah.
The internet fucks that story up because there's too much information.
it was a big deal for them to have those radios, and if they weren't close,
Yeah,
well,
the radios didn't work.
They got
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
So that story only works for a time period, which
Yeah.
is why it was so brilliant. Like
Yeah.
too much technology, that story does not work the same way.
Right.
And my 10-year-old dug it. She was like hooked.
That's because those movies, there was some, like the tone of that movie. We literally sat here in the last 3 months and said they do not make movies like this anymore.
Yeah.
And they don't. And for them to put out a TV show that is like that, it was like, oh my God, this is a breath of fresh air.
It's like the stuff that we liked as a kid.
Well, they were playing on our nostalgia for sure.
I can see
And
your
it was-
10-year-old
but
like
it
it
worked.
because it's the same shit that we
translated
like.
to her, which is what I was worried about.
Well, and not only are they playing on our nostalgia, but it's good fucking storytelling.
Yeah.
And that's the best part.
Yeah.
There was never a scene where you're watching it and you go, I don't need this. Like this, like there's movies you sit there and you're like, what the fuck was the point of that? Like, why did we go on that side adventure?
But we go ahead and we sit here and talk about movies like E.T. or Goonies or Poltergeist. And these were awesome movies.
Right.
And that's why they keep trying to fucking remake them.
Monster Squad.
Monster Squad is another one because they know these were awesome stories. These were great stories that people loved. We made a lot of money. Fuck it, let's do it again. Let's just remake that shit and sell it to them again.
Doesn't Stranger Things show you there's a better way to do it? Like,
Yeah.
You don't have to remake it. I think Super 8 was a great example.
I loved Super 8.
That's a great
Yeah.
movie. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's very much the same
same
vein.
thing.
Where it's like we're reminiscing of a time. It has a feel to it. But it's good storytelling at the end of the day, you know?
and it's not redoing.
Right.
It's paying homage to it, maybe.
I think
Yeah,
Super 8.
It's
sure.
not redoing the
I think
story.
Super 8 didn't do as good because they tried to sell it as something other than what it was.
It's almost like a combination of E.T. and Stand By Me in one movie, you know, with these little kids making their own movies, which is like half the fun of that.
But they tried
Yeah.
to sell it as a monster movie.
And it really wasn't. Like, that's not what it was. But it was a really good movie, you know. And I think Stranger Things shows, like, look, you can pander to us, but there's a better way to do it. The aesthetic needs to be better. The time spent on the story and the performances need to be better.
Right.
Because some of the shit, like the remake of Poltergeist, you're just like, you're doing a paint by numbers version of something I've already seen. It's a pale imitation. It was not good.
I refused.
To me,
It was one of
it's-
the worst remakes I've ever
Poltergeist-
seen.
And it was 90
Poltergeist
minutes, which
is
was weird.
Poltergeist is an absolute classic.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
It is still scary, and
Leave it alone.
we've done an episode on this before, and I've said it then. I'll say it now. It is still scary. It is stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was a good story, and it was just awesome. And they just, you know what? Let's do that again. But you know what? Nowadays, I've got really great technology at my fingertips, and we'll just barf a bunch of CGI on that, or we'll just make it bigger. We'll make the scare bigger. It's the same scare. We're just gonna make it bigger.
Yeah.
And you know what? It sucks, and you're not gonna get my $12.
Well, and I think this Stranger Things is the exact opposite of what happened at the box office this summer. Think about how much fun Stranger Things was. So much so that, like, I think 3 of the 4 people at this table watched it in under 24 hours. You
Yes.
know, I watched all 8 episodes in 24 hours, and I'm like so excited. I'm ready to do
took
it
me
again.
about 2 days.
So
just
2 days.
because
Todd
time-wise.
was the only one that took a little bit longer.
Took me about a week.
Yeah, but I mean, listen to that. You watched 8 or 6.5 to 8 hours worth of story in a week because it was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you get movies like Ghostbusters coming, like the remake of Ghostbusters coming out, which is a pale imitation of the original. You're like,
Not even that, dude.
it's just like the amount of failure of these movies at the box office this summer. It's a constant, like, we're gonna re-show you the same shit you've already seen, and not in a way that you're gonna enjoy it. It's kind of funny because as much as, like, at this point, as much as I enjoyed The Force Awakens, and as much as I have gripes about it, I'm actually more excited for Rogue One than I was
Yeah.
for The Force Awakens, because
Yeah.
I'm like, I might get some original storytelling in this.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I will say it till the day I die. The Force Awakens is a fantastic movie until we get to Maz's. And at that point, I'm like, it just becomes A New Hope. I'm locked into A New Hope. But like on the freighter with Han Solo, it was something new. This creature, like, you know, all of a sudden there's these crime syndicates that are on board with. It's like, wow, this is really interesting. I've never seen this in a Star Wars movie before. How awesome is this, right? And I think that there's a better way to do this storytelling in remakes. Like Stranger Things, you could look at it and go, Stand By Me, Goonies, E.T.
Monster Squad.
Yeah, any of these movies, like, it had similarities, but the story was unique and it was individual to itself. And I didn't feel like I was watching something I had already seen. It definitely felt like something I had seen before, but it wasn't exactly something I had seen before. Like a bad retread, you know?
Totally agree.
And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of going to the movies and seeing fucking remakes and sequels that are exactly the same as the original of something I've already seen.
There's so many.
It's
That's all that's coming out.
So
at
you're
this
not
point.
looking forward to Lost Boys, the TV show?
Jesus.
Oh, don't even get me fucking started. I mean, come on, let's have a nice night.
Can't we all just get along tonight?
You know, it's
Be
crap
polite?
like that is why we can't have nice things in this world.
Is it weird that I'm gonna sit here and go, hey, I'll wait until it comes out?
No.
Nope.
No.
Nope.com.
I do think that your
wait,
comment
wait.
about we can have a crossover with iZombie though was pretty dead on because you know that's a very strong possibility.
I think it's a fantastic possibility, but I think with Lost Boys, because here's the thing: no matter what, when you take something that's a dead property, like no one's doing anything with it. Battlestar Galactica is the perfect example where you had a property from the 70s that got remade into a fantastic fucking TV show that ran on
Did
Sci-Fi.
they reboot it or did they add to the story?
No, they rebooted it from scratch. It
Yeah.
went, here's the story, we're going to reboot it from scratch, and it turned out great. Now, not everything it goes in that direction, but until, you know, I'll take a step back and we'll see what happens, you know?
I just hope if they do the Lost Boys TV show.
Yeah, I'm sorry, they do what?
If they do the Lost Boys TV show.
They're going to do it?
They are going to do it. I guarantee
If
it.
they do the Lost Boys TV show, that they bring back the greased up saxophone guy.
Oh, yeah.
How excited would you be, though, if they did it as a sequel and Corey Haim somehow found his way?
I would
not
totally
Corey Haim,
be
Corey,
on board for that.
I would
Say
be
that
on board.
Corey's not coming back.
If they
dude.
brought back Corey Haim, I'm on board,
They
man.
can Weekend at Bernie's him. It would be great.
Right.
That's how they
You
tie
meant
in
Corey Feldman,
iZombie.
didn't
I
you?
meant Corey Feldman, yeah.
That's how they tie in iZombie. They bring back Corey Haim.
Yeah. No, I would totally be down with that. And I would have been totally okay with the female Ghostbusters as a sequel,
Yep.
as Ghostbusters 3.
Passing on the baton
I
to a
would
new
totally
crew
bought
of people. We're old, we're tired. You guys go for
It
it.
makes so much fucking sense, right?
I don't
To
know if
me,
I
it
would
would've
have bought
been-
that, though, because I'm just thinking of Home Alone. Was it Home Alone 3, where they now switch to a different kid?
Yeah, but
It's not the same.
like,
You
though.
lost me after Home Alone 1.
Yeah.
After that, like, it just wasn't believable anymore. Like, how many fucking
That's a
times can I
different
leave my
thing.
kid in the car
Right,
to
right.
cook? Right?
This is the worst,
Well, it's like
worst parents
it's
ever.
like Liam Neeson. Is he the best dad ever, or is he the worst dad
I'll
ever
tell you-
because it keeps happening to his damn kid?
Right?
Taken is one of those movies where in my mind I just pretend that the other two didn't happen because the first one's so good and then like
Right.
the second one had promise and it just got worse. Like you're like you had so many opportunities and you fucked this up. It's like The Hangover. The first Hangover's so good,
Yeah.
and then the next two you're like, what the like? Why are we literally doing the same things again? Like, come on, you know.
Well, the third one, Famke Janssen finally dies from anorexia.
Well, is his very special set of skills to get his family kidnapped? Is that his special set
Exactly.
of skills?
That's the question. Is he the best dad ever or the worst dad ever?
Yes.
So does that lead us to Ocean's 8?
Yeah, go ahead and talk about Ocean's 8. I know you're dying
Did
to.
you hear the excitement in Ron's voice on that?
I'm really not. I'm the anger has left me. Now I've rewatched all 3 of the Ocean's.
They're
11s,
so fun, dude.
all of them. I don't even like Ocean's 12 that much.
Oh, it's actually my second favorite.
yeah.
Is that the one where they're in Europe?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not as big a fan of that one. The Vegas
Hold on real
formula
quick.
works for me every time.
I gotta ask a real quick question. Okay, so what is your list of favorite?
For Oceans?
Yes.
Okay, so my list goes like this. My first favorite is actually Ocean's 13 because I
Okay.
think the third sequel it builds on all the fun of the previous two and
Yes.
tells a really fantastic story. My second favorite is actually Ocean's 12. My third favorite is Ocean's 11, and then the Ocean's 11 original is my fourth favorite. So, but here's the reason why. Ocean's 11 it's funny, But when I go back and rewatch it now, it doesn't have as many good jokes for me as the next two does.
Oh, I don't agree. I love that first movie. I can watch it a million times.
I can watch all of them.
Never loses its shine, dude. Never loses its
I
shine.
just think that the storytelling in Ocean's 13...
13 is great.
Plus, it's got Al Pacino.
Right.
I
And
just
he's all,
can't get
you know, and
past
he's like,
Ellen Barkin.
"Wah."
She,
You know?
Ellen Barkin is not a high point for me. The playing of the nose was kind of a cheesy little
Love
thing.
it. The nose plays, man. The nose plays.
Whatever.
Bernie Mac in all of them
Right.
to me is the
Like the
is the
highlight.
best.
Like
to me.
he's-
maybe they can bring him back like they're bringing Corey Haim back.
right. Yeah,
Son of.
when he passed away, it was truly a loss. with him.
He does have my two favorite bits in both Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 13.
Yes.
In Ocean's 11, when he's all, black man can't deal cards and stuff, might as well call it White Jack.
Yeah.
like that. And then in Ocean's 13, when he's all dominoes.
Competitive dominoes.
Like that whole bit,
Dude,
I fucking
the
love.
whole thing about the hand lotion to me, dude, had me fucking laughing.
Yeah.
You know, when he shakes that car salesman's hands, like,
Do you moisturize?
I like to go to bed with gloves on. With
Didn't Bernie Mac actually, like, as a
sunscreen on.
real person, like, go get a manicure, like,
Yes,
twice a
like
week? or
regularly.
Oh, I'm
something?
sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But it was like, but that, and then for me, the winner is in Ocean's 13. When the guys are down in fucking Mexico at the dice plant, and they're like, "How are negotiations going?" It's like, "Great, we've almost got them," and they're fucking throwing Molotov cocktails. All that stuff is like so.
I love that they send the first brother down to try and get the metal into the
Yeah.
dice. He ends up starting a revolution.
Yes.
And they send the other brother to go like check him, and he's like, "No, he's right there with him. We're gonna
like-
take it to the next level."
And he was like, "Remember what Senor?" And I carry. It's like a beer poster.
Right.
He's all Cantalores, and you know.
One of the brothers is Robert Duvall's son, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Scott Conn.
Scott
Scott
Conn.
Conn.
James Conn.
Oh,
Jimmy.
James Conn.
It's
There you
James
go. Okay,
Conn's
there
son.
you go.
Because it's Scott Conn and Ben Affleck's
It's
brother.
one of the
Yeah.
Corleone
Them-
family's
Yeah.
sons.
Right. Somebody from The Godfather, right?
But the second movie, Ocean's 12, has one of my second favorite bits, which is the fucking museum bit in that movie with Bruce
Julia
Willis
Roberts.
and Julia Roberts and the
Eh.
pregnancy. It's
I think it went astray for me.
No, when
that whole
Carl-
Julia Roberts thing where she pretends to be herself.
No, when Carl Reiner's like the women in the rice paddies would just give birth while
Yeah.
while we're working. Like that whole bit, it's really funny.
And
so
you know, getting back to remaking it as a new movie in casting a female cast for the sake of doing nothing more than casting a female cast, I would be more interested if you were just we're gonna do a movie with these women who are doing a heist.
Right.
Sure.
Just
Why
like
does it have to
just
be
give me a
connected?
whole new thing. Just give me something else. Listen, I don't like remakes. I don't give a fuck if they're transgenders in the main roles. I'm not gonna
It doesn't
fucking like
matter.
it because I don't like remakes. It has nothing
Now,
to do with
Write
their
the,
gender.
write
Now-
the same damn
now if
movie
it's-
you were going to.
Hold on. I think I have a sneaking suspicion because think about it. Why is it Ocean's 8? Because they're gonna make Ocean's 8, 9, and 10 is the plan,
Yeah.
right? So if she's an Ocean, is she Danny Ocean's sister? And
I would
can
be
we
okay
assume
with
that
that.
Danny Ocean's gonna? I mean, if Danny Ocean shows up in the movie in like the same capacity that like late in the film sort of thing, and it's that idea of like, oh, these connect. I would almost
okay
be
with
okay
that.
with that. Like if it's just
Because
a
that's not a
continuation
reboot.
of that franchise.
right
But
now,
they're talking reboot.
right now there are some exec just did a line of coke and said, you know what? For number 9, one of the women could have had a baby.
Right.
That baby
baby-
is Danny Ocean. Oh,
Right.
That baby is number 9. It's an infant heist artist.
Right. Right.
Holy shit, that's brilliant. Let's do that.
I have to admit, I would
People
watch
like
that.
people like babies.
They
Well,
do.
They like babies.
I mean, they're talking reboot, and when I hear the word reboot, it pisses me off. Stop fucking rebooting
with you.
and add to it or do something different.
Yep.
But quit rebooting shit. I mean, the first one, fine. It's been 50, 60 years. I'll go with you. You know, all of those actors are fucking dead.
Well, this concept.
Let's reboot that. Fine.
But look, the concept of like taking old properties and remaking them is not a good enough reason to do shit because look at what happened with Ben-Hur. Ben-Hur
Right.
came out last week and that
God.
shit tanked.
That looked
well, this is
horrible.
one of the classic movies of all time.
Yep.
And that movie looked horrible.
It's just a movie
That's
you
like
did.
doing a cover of Stairway to Heaven.
Nobody asked
like,
for
just
that
don't do
remake.
it.
Like
Yeah.
nobody was like, you know what I would really love? Can we get a modern adaptation of Ben-Hur?
That's the Christian. They had like God's Not Dead, and they're redoing like all the religious stories.
Noah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I actually enjoyed the last Noah that came out.
Oh Jesus! With the walking
rock people.
It was great, dude. I loved it. Oh, okay. Sorry, my child just walked in the room.
It was great when
We
they
have a visitor.
when they had
Special
the Lord of the
guest.
Rings character show up in Noah.
It was great
yeah.
because I love mythical adventures. They're fun. So here we go. What, you guys don't like mythical stories of rock
No, I'm not okay with that one.
I'm not even gonna touch this.
people? Okay, good times. So, but yeah, the Ghostbusters for me, like that's to me everything that was wrong with that. It's like
I'm just praying that Ocean's 8 does not turn out to be a reboot. And how the hell are you going to hire Aquafina? That's one of the actresses in the cast. Her name is Aquafina.
Is that a real person's name?
Yes, she's a rapper.
That's what
okay.
she goes
Why
for.
the fuck
She's named after a bottle of
is
water.
she Aquafina? It's a fucking
Then there's-
So are
name.
you
there's
mad that they
Yoplait.
hired her just because of her name?
I'm
Yoplait.
mad just because that's stupid.
I would watch a
But
movie
what about-
starring Aquafina and Yoplait.
I mean, but do we have a problem if they hire Ice Cube for anything or Ice T?
That
for
was
anything?
stupid too. Stupid.
Speaking about remakes and sequels, so the internet blew up because apparently Zendaya, who is an actress, is going to be the new Mary Jane in the new Spider-Man movies.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, she's not white or whatever, like the complaint is. And I
Isn't
think
Mary Jane a blonde?
no, she's
it's
a redhead,
redhead.
actually.
Oh, I'm thinking of Gwen Stacy. Is she
you
redhead
are.
too?
Gwen
No,
Stacy
she's
was
a
a blonde.
She was
Okay.
the blonde. But I don't have a problem with this.
You got like
none of-
character dyslexia, don't you?
No, it's okay. Seriously though, we didn't really talk about. We talked a little bit about Hall H, and I was talking about how great it is. But I have to tell you guys, weeks later after Hall H, the best thing I saw on Hall H that's coming out is the fucking new Spider-Man trailer. Like out of everything that I saw. And I really think nobody's gonna give a shit because this movie, like the filmmakers and the writers and everybody, they get what a Spider-Man movie should be, and they're making a John Hughes film. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
This feels like a John Hughes film. And from all the footage and everything I saw, because the whole idea of Spider-Man Homecoming, it's a story about Spider-Man trying to go to Homecoming. Like, and then there's going to be a villain involved. Like, that's what the main storyline is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
like, it's, I think.
I didn't make that connection at all.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Like, that's
That's
the
so
movie.
great.
And he's a complete dork. He's got a fat best friend that runs around with him. It's literally like the cast of Stranger Things, and then this one model-looking girl that when I was watching the footage, I go, that girl's kind of hot to be hanging out with them. I'm like, I wonder if they cast a black Mary Jane.
Right.
Like, I wonder if they did that, or she's like Puerto Rican or some shit like that. I don't know. But the idea behind it is. There's like backlash, obviously, as there always is, because it's not exactly how it is on the page. But to me, it's like if they get the tone of the rest of the fucking movie right, I don't give a shit. Like, make a good Spider-Man film. We've had 5 Spider-Man films, and we've had 1.5 good Spider-Man movies at this point.
Yeah, I watched that Spider-Man 3 recently. It was not good. I'm changing my opinion on that. It was worse than I remember.
There was a lot of Sandman crying in that film,
Right.
so a lot of shedding of single tears and things like that.
Right.
But that was
Not
one of the
good.
big things that happened this week. So I just want to tell you guys, like, as your ambassador to Hall H, Spider-Man is going to be like, from what I've seen, looks fantastic. And tonally, it feels different than all the other Marvel films at this point.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's where the success comes in is they don't make the same film, and it seems like DC is trying to make the same film over and over again with different characters.
Steve found a Lightning McQueen car that he's been playing with for 10 minutes.
Listen,
We hadn't talked about cars in a while.
is in my blood, man.
It is now, dude.
Can't get enough of it, man.
Really?
Still watching it?
Yeah.
Wow.
If
It seems like it's been about a year.
Fire in
well, how old are my kids now? Almost 4. So for 15 years, I've been watching this goddamn movie. Well, I mean, that's what it feels like, I mean, look, I even bought him a special edition one at Comic-Con that he's not even allowed to open.
Yeah.
Son, this is a collector's item. Okay, you can't just go ahead and bang it around the house. It's gonna be worth one day $35. I pay $25 for
when
it.
you're 30.
Trust me, that thought's been going through my head a lot lately because I just moved, and so I'm going through these boxes, going, "Man, what is this? I've had this box forever and haven't opened it." And go, "Oh yeah, that's all the collectible shit that I can probably sell for $10 right
Todd,
now."
Jennifer and I have been going through that since we've moved into this apartment, and most of our life is still in storage. But we are bringing boxes home here and there and going through and going, what the fuck do we have this shit for?
Why do I have so many conversational stormtroopers? This
you
is
know,
so random.
Well, that stuff is still cool, but there's other crap. You're just like I got Halloween shit for 20 fucking years ago, dude.
I
I mean,
collected
it's
all the tortured
It's not
souls.
even good, dude. It's like junk now, you know? It's just, and so I'm just tossing the shit, dude. And Jennifer's like, well, you can take it to Goodwill. Fuck them. It's going in the trash because the Goodwill box is gonna sit by the fucking front door for the next 7 weeks. I'm gonna fucking kick it and kick it and kick it, and you ain't gonna do shit with it. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna take it to Goodwill, and then I take it out to the fucking trash, and then you don't ever know about it.
If there's a listener out there that likes to remix things, can somebody please remix Steve saying "and kick it and kick it and kick it" into some
Jamming
sort
on
of
the one, jamming on the one.
into some sort
I
of
knew that would come into play somehow tonight.
some sort of techno beat? It will be unforgettable.
I was gonna damn you! I was just going for it. Please do it to the beat of Unforgettable.
Kicking it, kicking it, kicking it. All right, so
Fucking, you guys are just
Rest in peace, Natalie.
you guys are just fucking chasing waterfalls.
Oh, we're throwing the TLC.
are you on TLC?
Dude, we are like hitting on all cylinders. We
Hey,
got
listen,
diamonds
mic drop,
and pearls
mic
over
drop.
here.
Listen, man. I don't want any scrubs.
It's going off the rails. All right. Okay, guys, we got to put a pin in this. We're running over time. Why don't we just go ahead and turn this into a two-parter? We give the audience what they want, which is twice as much of us, right? So
At least twice as much of me.
oh my God, that's because you need two seats.
All the candy you ate.
We hope you guys have enjoyed this special episode of the Nerdlife Crisis. I'm 11.
I'm Modine's hair.
I'm upside down.
I'm that dude's teeth.
We hope you're having a Nerdlife Crisis. Music for the Nerdlife Crisis podcast is provided by Big Papa and the TCB. All music available at bptcb.com or at iTunes. The Nerdlife Crisis is recorded at the Inland Blue Studios. Make sure to subscribe to the Nerdlife Crisis at iTunes and like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram or Twitter at Nerdlife Crisis.